Wow. Whoa, man. That game was pretty unbelievable.
It really was. You know, LX, he threw away so many units early, but then fought back so bravely against the 4 add-on tanks. Have you ever seen anything like it?
It was unbelievable. I don't know if I agree with either player's tech pattern that much, but the Chinese, they have their own style, and they're very good at what they do.
Yeah, you know, at the end there, so many Archons, so many Psy Storms,
Yeah.
but just not enough units to carry LX through. So, you know, once again, he lets it slip through his fingers. He just needs one more win.
Yeah, that's all he needs, but he's having a hell of a time trying to get it.
Yeah, you know, there's only 2 maps left for him to choose from, Shin Chu Pyongyang and Neo Harmony. LX has chosen Neo Harmony, so let's see if he can pull it out. And this is it. This is Game 5. Super exciting. Super is doing really great coming out of the loser bracket, bringing it to the final game. The map is Neo Harmony. The winner of this game between Alex and Super will be coming to Korea for the first ESWC StarCraft tournament ever.
A huge moment, not just in StarCraft, but esports history is about to unfold here as these 2 titans are going to duke it out, and only one of these guys is going to be left standing. So far, we've seen very interesting, unusual games here. Back and forth action, a big seesaw effect here. Right now, I have to say that I have liked LX's strategy. I have not liked his execution.
Yeah, you know, I have liked Super's execution, but I haven't liked his strategy.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
3 add-ons and 4 add-ons so quickly before vessels, before upgrades. I just don't like it. I don't see the logic in it that much. It gives him a strong mid game,
right.
Strong late mid game, but his late game, as we've seen, it's kind of weak. Spellcasters have been ripping him apart.
Right, storm dropping, arbiters, all that stuff is tearing him apart, and he doesn't seem to be capable many times of actually pushing across the entire map to get there with all those siege tanks. At the same time, though, LX seems to make these crass moves here where he's either mismicroing or misjudging his opponent's army. And that's really what's costing him the game.
Indeed it is. And, you know, this map, Neo Harmony, it's actually a pretty good map for Terran versus Protoss, believe it or not. It is a huge map, so you might think, you know what, the Terran lack of mobility could hurt. But really, I think it's the fact that it is such a large map that Vultures become just almost imbalanced on this map.
Oh, they can become nightmarish on large maps. What you have to do is make sure that all of your pylons have a designated location before the game even starts out. You can't just suddenly go, oh god, I forgot a pylon, and just throw one up next to your minerals, because those pylons need to be positioned all over the map to block off Vulture circulation.
Absolutely. You know, there's a little choke that you can get through in towards the Nexus. That's going to be one area he wants to control very carefully against Vulture harass. As well as, you know, there's so many areas that Vultures can just come in and run around the Protoss army. So, especially early game, Protoss cannot be too aggressive.
Now, something you want to bear in mind, though, is that when Protoss has to make a lot of pylon walls, they also cannot afford to lose too many units in the first push, because they're going to lose a lot of their options when it comes to flanking if they do allow their opponent to kill too many of their units early on. They're not going to get that surround. They're going to get all their units funneled together, and that's going to give a style like Super's, which is very siege tank intensive, a huge advantage.
Indeed. You know, if Super does not lose a whole lot of Vultures during his harass, that's going to help him out when he gets to his 3 add-on phase. You know, the 3 add-ons, a lot of siege tanks in the middle of the map. With the Vultures harassing all game long, you know, I'm a little bit worried, because normally with Vulture harass maps, you're going to lose a lot of Vultures, and that's especially one reason that you don't get more than 2 add-ons, so you can refill those Vultures and stop the Zealots.
You have to be able to reload your Vulture supply. I also think a real defining thing about a Terran player who's top tier is knowing how many Vultures does he need to send out. Will he be good with 4, or does he need maybe 8? Because sometimes you see these Terran players that are really more at the C to C+ level who will always send out groups of a dozen in positions where, look, you really only need 4 because you're either going to get in there and you're going to get a lot of probes, or you're going to need to send out 8 to a dozen because you need to get by all these Dragoons. So Vulture number judgment is critical if you're going to be a good Terran player, and I think that's what we want to watch here for Super. Is he sending out the right number at the right time?
Yeah, and you know what I want to really see from Super this game is what he has planned out for a strategy here, because this was his map choice. He had to choose between this
really?
map and Shinchu Pengyang.
Okay.
Because he did lose that last game. Loser chooses the map. And so we see he's actually getting a very fast robo. And, you know, I am actually a little bit confused about this fast robo. You know, that's kind of a safety build unless he's going to open Reaver. But it's just so far away, and this is such a good map for siege expanding, which always includes turrets, that, you know, I can't really see a reason for going such a quick robo. I really think a quicker expansion would be more on key.
It looks like Terran attempted to glitch an SCV by building a depot over here next to that neutral building, which is a temple. It is possible to glitch a unit through there if you can spam it through just correctly. That didn't happen, though, so that's going to be a lot of time spent. Well, at least I should say time wasted, because if he's doing that, he might have some idle SCVs back at home.
All right, now look at this. He's going for 2 gateways and a robo right now. So, you know, I'm not sure exactly what his plan is for that. You know, maybe a bulldog attack. Maybe 2-gate range with OBS. But, you know, I have to say, 2-gate range with OBS is probably the worst build you could do on this map. It's so far away. Look at this. They're even the farthest positions possible. So I don't know what sort of damage you could ever do with that.
I think he anticipates the Terran going for an aggressive opener, just judging from how Terran played in some of our earlier games. And I think he's saying, okay, I can't afford to lose to a rush. And usually the result of situations like this is he ends up being forced to bulldog, because that's all he can do to make do with a situation like this. And if he does bulldog, it should be one of the least effective bulldogs we would see probably in the ESWC. By the way, if you're unfamiliar with what a bulldog is, besides it being an animal, it is also a rush where you get several zealots and put them in a shuttle and use dragoons. However, it looks like he's going to use a reaver.
Yeah, and you know what? This is actually kind of interesting. He canceled that Senka Gateway and made a Nexus as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe this was a super safety build. Maybe Alex is like, you know what? I'm a better player than Super.
Yeah.
I'm going to open up super safe against Super. Super duper.
That's
Alka
just,
Trooper.
Super never knew his weakness was in his name.
Yeah, but, you know, and then he cancels when he realizes, okay, there's not some sort of 2 factory rush coming. There's no dropship coming. He's, in fact, expanding. So I'm going to go and do an expansion and a Reaver instead. Maybe, you know, try to contain, harass, whatever you want to do with that Reaver. So, you know, I think LX right now, just playing his game. He wants to win on his skill.
Right, and I think pretty much LX has decided that most of his losses are his fault and not Super's ingenious play. So I think he says, all right, just play it safe. Play it safe and make the right choices. But, you know, making the right choices is a big part of being good at StarCraft. And so far, Alex has been making the wrong choices when it comes to execution. You know, when do I attack? You know, what do I tech to? And I think the only right choices he's made is with his early builds.
Yeah, you know, but this game, the early build was actually, looks like it was a mistake. We'll have to see what he can do with the Reaver.
We'll see what happens.
But right now, Super has very great Reaver defense. He has a couple turrets, as you see, very well placed right there. That's an excellently placed turret. I have to give it to him. He has spider mines ringing his factories. He has a turret under that eBay. He has, you know, his Marines and his tanks in his main base ready for this Reaver. So this is really not going to come as any shock to him. And if LX really does any damage whatsoever with this Reaver, I'm going to be pretty surprised.
Yeah, I would be as well. I like how he didn't go overkill with the turrets, which I think a lot of Terran players can make the mistake of doing. That turret's just far enough in there that it could bait the Reaver into being dropped.
Yeah.
And sometimes as a Terran player, that's what you want. Is you want them to drop the Reaver because you know they're gonna force them. They're going to be forced to lose the shuttle, and you're probably going to save your SCVs. So you can see that's why he didn't make a ring of turrets all the way around the edge of his base, which might end up forcing the Protoss player to back off, and then he'll have a Reaver mid-game. He's trying to bait him in. It's like a I don't know, a sand trap.
Yeah, you know, a lot of lower-level Terran players will look at a higher-level player and say, you know what, I would have had that extra turret there, and I would have stopped that. This guy's stupid. But, in fact, no. Part of Terran versus Protoss is baiting. That's sometimes why you see pro gamers play siege tanks way behind the others.
Right.
They're trying to bait the extra units in to get that really strong advantage. And that's kind of what we see Super doing here, which, you know, I have to say I appreciate seeing a game like this.
Yeah, you know, you see similar stuff in a Protoss versus Zerg where